Okay.
Hi, goalies, goalie parents, and goalie coaches. Welcome to the Goalie Podcast. I'm Brian DeCord, former goaltending coach of the Boston Bruins, goalie scout for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and director of goaltending for the Arizona Coyotes. Currently, Boston University's goalie coach. I've got former Northeastern goalie coach John Carado, Boston College, Merrimack College. Today, we're so excited to have Karen Bishop with us. And Karen is from Inner Grace Wellness, and we've got so many topics to cover. What I'd like you to do, Karen, is just introduce yourself a little bit so we get to know you, and then I'm going to start hammering you with questions.
Okay. I'm Karen. I'm the founder of Inner Grace Wellness. I'm a licensed massage therapist, intuitive energy healer, and Reiki master teacher with over a decade of experience helping clients restore balance in their body, mind, and spirit. My work integrates therapeutic massage with high energy frequency healing to support physical recovery, regulate the nervous system, and to ease emotional stress. My practice is guided by intuition and it's grounded in presence. I bring a deeply restorative experience that helps my clients to reconnect with their bodies, release tension, and access a more resilient and centered state of being. And I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
If I can jump in for 1 second, Karen's been instrumental in my recoveries from my hip surgeries. I took some before my surgeries. I took a lot of massage and energy healing classes from her during the recoveries. There was we did a lot of Reiki work together. We did breath work together. So I've been so impressed with what she's helped me through and helped me with, and especially what I've learned from her. So I think the next half hour, 45 minutes is going to go in a bunch of different directions. I think we're going to learn a ton of stuff in the next half hour. I'm looking forward to it.
And she's helped our coaches as well, which is huge. So I'm going to start. I got so many topics that we got to run through. I want to start with the central nervous system. And what we're trying to do, obviously, we're trying to calm ourselves down, stay in the present moment, sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. So could you give our goalies a way or the different tools that they can use to come and be in the present? Sure. And not have that central nervous system firing all cylinders all day long?
Yeah. So when the nervous system is dysregulated from stress or overtraining, the body has a really hard time recovering and performance suffers. So the work I do helps bring the body out of fight or flight and into a healed state. And from that place, athletes can recover faster, sleep better, and they're more mentally clear. So there's a lot of different types of practices that we use to accomplish that. So one of the first and easiest would be grounding. Some of you may be familiar with this term. Some of you may not have heard of it before. But basically, it's a way of connecting yourself back to your body, like literally coming back into your body. It can be as simple as when you're sitting somewhere, you can just take your hands and place them on your lap. That immediately brings you back to your body. But for your goalies, when they're out getting ready to play, they might have some sort of regular ritual that they do, whether they skate out to the ice and they take their glove off and they touch the goalpost and connect. They might tap their stick on the ice. They might have some other ritual. You'll see it like in baseball players, when they tap their shoes with their bats. A lot of different athletes have certain rituals that they do to come back to that present moment. So that's an easy one to do.
Is there a difference? So let's take that baseball player tapping his cleats with the bat. Okay. Yeah. Or hitting the ground, or the pitcher throwing some of the dirt on the mound or grabbing the wristband, whatever. For a goalie, maybe they're touching their post. Is there a difference between touching your post with your stick and literally taking your glove off and grabbing that crossbar or that post?
Ooh, that's an interesting distinction. I think it depends on how they've built their practice. Certainly, you have a more immediate physical contact if you're touching it with your direct hand directly as opposed to just the glove.
That crossbar is going to be cold.
Sure.
It's going to be a little wet or damp, right? It's in a rink. So there's does the actual feeling of the crossbar help bring you back to the present?
Certainly.
Can I jump in for 1 second on this? Sorry, Karen. To go with what you're saying, Brian, when we do our goalie camps in the summer, even though, I shouldn't be, like everybody does, but I love moving the nets into place because of that. When I feel the net, I feel, like I said, the cold of the net. I can even feel the different levels of paint if it's been repainted. And it really does. It gets me grounded and focused for the up and coming session. Because as coaches, we're amped up. We're excited for the session. And it actually does something where feeling the crossbar, feeling the different layers of paint, feeling, like I said, the moisture, the cold of it, it actually.
So we just lost John, but we're with us.
There he is.
Normally it's Heidi that stops John from talking, but John, you want to finish that point?
No, I'm just saying, like it as far as a grounding effect, like it's one of those things, like I didn't know there was a term for it. I just know it helped me transition into that from being in the locker room. You know, we're joking around, we're having fun, and you walk out to the ice and you're all amped up to coach because you get so much information you want to share. But just grabbing the net, touching it, like it helped me refocus. And I didn't know there was a term for that.
So let's go one step deeper on that. Okay. I get on the ice. I'm in my crease. I drop to my one knee. I take off my glove and I put my hand on the cold ice in my blue paint. Is that going to help me?
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. It's going to bring you right there into that moment. I think it's going to really ground and center you even more deeply than something as simple as just touching the goal. But there are certain things, like you're not going to be able to do that necessarily in the middle of a game after you've let a
No, but you can do that before a game starts. You can do that at a whistle down at the other end. If you start feeling your mind racing, you can take a knee, put your hand down. Now, so how's this, Karen? When this happens and we have video, I'm going to send you video 2-3 years from now of an NHL goalie dropping a knee, putting their hand down on the ice, and it all started here.
Right here. That's right.
All right, so on the grounding thing before moving on.
Yeah.
So could you tell me the Amazon purchase I just made for the blanket that goes in my bed, the grounding
blanket?
The
grounding bed. Oh, sure.
Is that foo-foo, or is there some, like, where do you stand on, because I can have a grounding pad right now and be with my feet on a grounding pad. You can I think they recommend like 45 minutes, when you go to bed to turn on the grounding blanket, whatever. So, is that as valuable as standing outside in the grass with no shoes on?
I don't have personal experience with a grounding sheet. I don't disagree with the theory behind it.
Okay.
But I really can't speak to it because I don't have personal experience with it. In theory, yes, it makes sense to me. But of course, to me, the highest and best would be to go outside and actually literally get your feet on the earth.
Yeah.
Barring that, you can even visualize grounding into the earth. I mean, you can just put your feet on the floor and imagine dropping roots from the soles of your feet down into the earth, even, down and through the basement, down right into the ground. So you don't actually even physically have to do anything to get grounded. Like you can just, center your mind and do that as well. So it just depends on your circumstances and what tools you have at hand.
I'll tell you, just to wrap it up, one of the most important things with my recovery was I grew up near the beaches in Beverly, and it was literally getting the shoes off and putting my feet on the sand. Like you said, for that grounding thing of just the feel of it, the mind-body connection and everything. And it was very important when I had them, just to get that feeling back. And like you said, of normalcy in a grounding as well.
In North Andover, we have a hill called Weir Hill.
Yeah.
And half the walk, it's a 40-minute walk. Half the walk is around the water. And you're right on the water for half the walk. And then you walk up. You have a great vista. You walk down. I physically crave going there. Like crave. I need to go. Like Daniela, we need to go. I crave it. Anyway, so we're going to get off of grounding. I want to go from grounding. I want to go into breathing.
Yes. And
for John and I, in our mid 40s. So for John and I, we never heard breathing. What's breathing? But how does grounding and breathing go together?
Right. So for breath work, that really helps to calm the central nervous system, as we were talking about earlier. So it helps to calm and focus the mind. So there are certain breath work techniques. I'm not a certified breath work healer. However, I have used breathing techniques in my practice and personally as well. So there are very simple breathwork practices that you can use to center ground, come into the body. Box breathing, you may be familiar with that,
Yeah.
where you do an even 4-4-4, 4 in, 4 out, 4 in, hold, 4 out, hold, and you kind of repeat that cycle several times. The other one that's really, really, and that one activates both the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, and it kind of balances them out. But if you were to employ the extended exhale breathing technique, with that, you would do an inhale through the nose for like a count of 4, hold it for 2, and then exhale slowly for a count of 6. When you extend that exhale, that activates the vagus nerve, which is a very key part. That's what activates that parasympathetic nervous system.
So the vagus nerve that's coming.
It's the longest nerve in the body. Yep. So with that, with the extended exhale, you can even tweak it just one more little bit by when you exhale, if you let the air out as if you were blowing out a candle by holding your mouth like that, that slows the breath exhaling even more, just that small, simple tweak. And it just accentuates that exhale. It allows you to empty your diaphragm even more deeply by extending that exhale, and that really ratchets down the nervous system. So that's a tool that they could use. Again, they've missed a shot, or there's a face-off coming, or there's a breakaway on the way down the ice, or whatever have you. Like, they can do these simple techniques to just bring themselves back to the present moment very quickly.
So I was watching a Huberman the other day, and he was teaching a breathing technique, and I forget what he called it, but right at the end of the inhale, there was, you get as much as you think you can get in, and then you give one more.
Yeah.
And in terms of quickly bringing you back, that was one of the things that he recommended that I was teaching in his podcast. I found that interesting.
Yeah,
I read a great article in the Athletic magazine that the Philadelphia Eagles worked on synchronized breath work. So in the huddle, they would breathe together. That way, by the time they got the line of scrimmage, everybody was on the same rhythm.
It's co-regulation. It's called co-regulation.
I think I might have read that term, but they were talking about so by the time everybody got to the line of scrimmage, their breathing was in sync. So it wasn't one guy hyperventilating, blocking, and one guy not. They try to get everybody on the same level of breathing, so that when a play happened, because it's usually in football, it's a 30-second, use of energy, that they could be on the same level of energy, regroup back to the huddle, do a quick breath work as the plays, being called and everything, because it's 45 seconds between plays. So they try to get everybody in the same breathing rhythm and pattern.
And when did they use this?
During games.
Like this past season, 2 years ago?
They implemented it this season. I believe it was the Eagles, the article I read, but they talked about like in stressful moments of the game, the best thing to do is have everybody on the same kind of stress relief pattern. And they found breath work was the best way to do it. And they found that doing it as a group was really beneficial, because like Hannah said, like everybody's co-regulated, like they're doing the same thing. It's not one person's doing, like you said, 8 in, 2 out, and one person's doing box method. They got them all in the same breathing rhythm. And I thought it was just a fantastic article to read.
It's fascinating.
Well, when you think about it, energy is transferable. Imagine, you pick up the energy of a space. You can go into a room, if somebody's just had a fight, or, if somebody's had a bad day, you feel that. So that totally makes so much sense. And like when we were talking earlier about the grounding, you can do some sort of grounding exercise with the team before you even get on the ice. You could do a short breath work exercise just to get everybody centered and grounded, not just your goalies, but your whole line.
That's fascinating as part of a pregame warm up to. Yeah, I've got to do some reading on this. I'm fascinated by this. We're gonna move on. We're gonna go to the next thing that I'm really interested in: rest and sleep. And so I have my Fitbit going, And every single day I'm checking my rest. I'm checking my sleep. I want to see what my REM was. I want to see what my deep sleep. I tried different things to see, whether it's, listening to 428 megahertz, as you sleep, whether it's, Katie Burt, one of our coaches, she discovered puppy music.
She was talking about that last weekend. Yes.
Puppy music.
Puppy music. So and basically what it is, it's all frequency. It's typically piano is the instrument. And so it's all the frequency of the music. And so I tried it the other night. I'd done it a year ago when she suggested. I tried it the other night. My REM sleep, which is typically somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour, was over 2 hours.
Wow.
By listening to.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, this frequency. So tell me a little bit about your take on sleep and how we make that better for goalies.
Well, I think part of it is having the body be at ease. If you're holding tension and stress, your sleep quality is going to suffer. If you're holding on to heavy emotions from a game, that's going to affect your sleep quality. So I think finding that balance of restoring the system to its equilibrium, whether it's through massage and energy healing or some other practice that you find helpful, whether it's through breath work, I think it's very key to allow you to have that restorative sleep. So if you're not relaxed, if you're in pain, you're not going to have restorative sleep. Your brain isn't going to let go of that mental chatter of, oh, my knee, my knee, my knee. You're not going to rest. So I think it's important to address all of the different parts, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, in order to get you to that place where you have a nice, deep, solid sleep.
Now, our young goalies aren't going to like this at all. Tell me about how your cell phone impacts your sleep and looking at your cell phone before.
Oh, the blue light. Yeah, the blue light from the cell phone is very disruptive, as is the light from some LED lights. I don't know if you've ever seen a video of an LED light. I mean, when you look at a light, it looks like the light is steady. But if you ever take a video and slow it down of LED light, it actually does this.
I didn't realize that. That's fascinating.
It's very unhealthy. Yeah.
Karen, not to interrupt, but would that be the reason why, like, a lot of the new headlights on cars have LED lights? And I hate driving at night. Like, I feel like I feel like if I'm coming home, like, I'm mentally exhausted.
All right, so one step further, in my vehicle, I don't have the traditional rear view mirror. It's the video, so there's a camera in the back. The lights are flashing. They're not, but the video picks up. So I look back, and it's flashing lights all the time at night, and I'm like, your first thought is it's a police car. So it's really interesting to me.
So light and the source of the light that you're using is very important. Yeah, but yes, blue light. So you definitely, I mean, the general consensus is at least an hour or so before you're getting ready to go to bed to kind of turn off all of your devices, or wear, your blue light blocking glasses.
Yeah.
That can help as well, but it's very disruptive to your circadian rhythm and the production of your melatonin, which helps control your sleep. So, yeah.
So, one of the things I've heard is first thing in the morning when you get up, if there's sunlight, even if there's not sunlight, I think it's beneficial. Just step outside for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. So it's 5, 10, 20. So, so it's sun before screens is sort of the parlance that they use.
Sun before screens.
Sun before screens. Yeah, sun before screens. Yep. And then on a sunny day, I think it's as little as 5 minutes. On a cloudy day, 10 minutes. Or if it's like an overcast raining day, 20 minutes. Just like you can sit near a window, or if you can physically go outside. But the rain, you're not going to go outside. But yeah, the more overcast it is, a little bit longer time you need to spend.
So 5, 10, 20.
Fascinating. Yeah. And what that does is it from my understanding, and I'm not entirely certain on this, but it does something to the hormone regulation in your body. It activates something that signals your body, okay, it's time to be awake. And then there's like a cycle that lasts for a certain period of time. So if you get up and you do this, it trips your circadian rhythm and says, okay, now, 12, 14 hours from now, I'm going to start unwinding and get ready for bed. Yeah.
So simply walking to a car does not do it for you in the morning.
Not necessarily, no. Although, I mean, when you think about it, like there are some folks who get up and leave for work in the dark and come home in the dark. What do they do?
Okay, so they do? They get a red light?
Yeah, or they go outside at their coffee breaks.
Yeah. So red light therapy
Mm-hmm.
is very popular now.
Yes.
Maybe red light therapy is would a 10-minute red light therapy session be a replacement to getting
I don't know, because I don't use red light and I haven't done a lot of studies on red light therapy, so that I really couldn't speak to that. But I think if you're someone who gets up and starts your day, as a lot of hockey players do, they have practices at some ungodly hours of the day, and they're leaving in the dark. So at some point during the day, as early as they can, getting outside and getting in the sunlight.
Awesome. Hey, John, I want to talk a little bit about massage. And
absolutely,
we know that Karen came and took care of some of our staff and so on and so forth. And my question, John, what did massage do for you? And then Karen, I want to try to dive into, there's so much misunderstanding about what type of massages most beneficial for athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything different between going to Massage ND and going to a sports massage therapist? Are they basically doing the same thing? Are they doing different things? So I want like kind of get a testimonial from John, and then maybe Karen, you can dive into, some of the things that we need as goalies to get from massage therapy.
Well, first thing for me, the first time I had a massage from Karen, I'm used to the deep tissue massages where they just kind of rip into you and everything. And Karen told me it's going to be a different type of massage. It's going to be a massage that, with some traditional components, but it's going to be more of an energy type of massage. And I was not familiar with that. And I came out of it not only feeling better with my body, but I felt better with just more energy, more relaxed. A lot of time, like from previous massage, I had like your body's used to that deep tension and then release. I just felt it all over from every part of the body. I felt more relaxed and it felt more energetic. So it felt like, you had a nice light workout that you felt better from. And as she was doing the massage, she was talking about the benefits of the touch, not just the muscle components, but how important the physical touch was, the motions she was making, the transition from a spot to a spot. And what I found with her talking through the massage that way, I got a much better, the old mind-body connection. Before you kind of just, lie down and have them work on you, I felt more in control, or I felt like my body was more involved in the process of massage, if that makes sense. And it was, when I was done with it, it was such a relaxing thing, and I felt more in tune with my body. I felt what my body, more of what the massage was meant to do for the body.
Karen, can you dive into the massage therapy for athletes a little bit?
Yeah. So I think every body is different. Every practitioner is different. And I think that's a very key part in finding the right fit. Not everyone is for, you're not always a good fit for your practitioner. So it's very important to find someone that you're comfortable with and that you trust. Is there a difference between the franchises and people in solo practice? I am a former employee of a franchise as a very young, early practitioner. Typically, a lot of the practitioners there tend to be new graduates, not always. So it may be a level of experience difference that you may find there. That's not to say that you don't have skilled practitioners, certainly. A lot of different practitioners have specialties. As you mentioned, there are people who specifically practice just sports massage. So they're very focused on the needs and types of work that an athlete might need. And again, it depends on what they're looking for. For me, I take a more holistic approach. I do like a relaxing deep. I don't necessarily feel as if it's necessary for someone to get off the table and feel like they've gone 9 rounds for it to be effective. You don't need to feel like you don't need to feel like you've been hit by a Mack truck when you get up off the table. I do have a lot of different tools that I use. I have a lot of different techniques that I use. I also practice cupping therapy, which is extremely helpful.
Really popular.
And release and
every time I walk out of the physical therapy room, there's 3 people with the cups on them. Yeah.
That's a wonderful way to help release deep tension. Again, without you feeling like you've gone 9 rounds on the tabletop. So my approach is more integrated in that way, that I incorporate the energy. I know in one session, John, we were working on your hip, I think, or maybe it was your knee. And we did some really, really deep energy work.
I was just going to say, not to interrupt you, but what I was amazed with Karen's process was she knew I was coming in for a general massage and my legs, but she specifically, with what she knew, went right to the hip that was hurting the most. And then she says, geez, I bet your opposite knee is hurting because you've offset the weight distribution so much without you realizing it. And she focused a lot of the energy of the massage in those 2 areas. And I came out feeling so much better. And I would not have thought offhand, like, to offset the weight distribution that I had done. But she instinctively knew from working with my body or seeing my alignment of what to do for it. And that's why it's such a different experience.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, the compensation when you have an injury, where the body compensates in different areas to carry the shift. Yeah.
Well, Karen, this has been fascinating. We could go on for hours because I love all this stuff. I spend so much time trying things, experimenting and learning as much as possible. I think if I'm a goalie watching this right now, I'd be like, hey, there's a lot that I can look into. There's a lot of things other than doing 1,000 butterflies. There's a lot of things that I can do to make myself better as a goalie. And I just I want to join John and thank you for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me. And I guess I would leave you with this, that your energy is just as critical as your physical skill. Grounding, breath work, visualization, and mindset really help you stay connected to your body, to your instincts, and to your present moment awareness. So no matter what the scoreboard says, you can always return to that calm and clarity and get your power back.
And take a knee, put your hand on the ice. We invented it here. This is where it all started.
Right. And if you're looking for me, you can find me at innergracewellness.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at inner_grace_wellness. And I'd love to follow up with anybody that has any questions or if this resonated with them. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Karen, thank you so much. Had a blast.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the Goalie Podcast by Stop It Goaltending You. If you haven't already downloaded the Stop It Goaltending You app, you can get your free 7-day trial at either the App Store or Google Play.